Steve Smee and Asia Lapointe. You're visiting us today because you have a very interesting new restaurant that's going to hit the scenes in Calgary very soon, and we would like to hear a little bit more about it. So the restaurant's name is 10 Foot Henry.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a name that we've chosen for this restaurant, but it basically comes down to the location that we ended up finding. It takes quite a bit of time to find the quote perfect space to house your restaurant baby, and we managed to find it in Victoria Park. It's at 1209 First Street Southwest in a up and coming neighborhood that we're really excited about, being on kind of the ground floor of this restaurant revival that is happening there. We found the space, and it's a 110-year-old building. And when we started investigating the history of the space, and there's a lot in 110 years, we did come across a character called 10 Foot Henry, which incited a lot of curiosity and interest in finding the background of this story. When you look up the Eagle Block, which is the name of the building that we're leasing, it comes up in kind of the Beltline archives, which is fantastic. So it shows a little bit of a rundown of the history, some old photos, and at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, we saw this cutout of a character called 10 Foot Henry, and so that incited some curiosity, and we started Googling what 10 Foot Henry was all about, and we did find that there is quite a bit of history with this character in Calgary. Essentially, in 1981, a charismatic art community member, Blake Brooker, decided to fashion a plywood cutout that's 10 feet tall of a cartoon character called Henry from the 1930s. And Henry's actually a mute cartoon character, and what Blake decided to do was create a thought bubble to send messages to passersby in Boomtown, Calgary on the Cloud Trail where he lived. He lived in Victoria Park, and this character outside of his apartment was propped up sending messages with this thought bubble to passersby, which became a little iconic because people wanted to see, what was Henry saying today. He decided to then move him into different venues in Calgary. 10 Foot Henry's club was open for 3 years, kind of underground punk music scene.
The space we're moving into used to be called Bruno's apartment, and this guy Bruno was part of the Golden Calgarians, one of Calgary's most famous punk bands, lived in there, and eventually became a gallery space. They were showing art in there, and he threw these crazy parties. So it became known as this place where people would have a great time. Eventually turned into the Night Gallery. It became one of Calgary's most iconic music venues, and that has actually kind of led to two of the longest running music nights in the city: High Karate on Thursdays at Hi-Fi Club by the small town DJs, and also Sunday School with DJ Rice. And Sunday School is actually the longest running DJ night in the city.
So it definitely has a lot of history, and for all of its 19 years that it was in business, 10 Foot Henry lived within those four walls and became a bit of a club icon and sensation there. After that closed, Henry sort of moved around from people's backyards in the neighborhood until he found his new home, which is at the One Yellow Rabbit Theatre, where Blake Brooker is one of the founders. So he's back with his rightful owner. And then after speaking with Blake Brooker about our project and how we're really interested in doing a bit of an 80s throwback and paying respect to the history of the neighborhood and wanting to do a restaurant that in its own right is conceptless. It just is what it is. It's great food, it's a great room, it's great people, and we wanted a name that reflected just something fun, and he was excited about it, and we're really lucky and blessed to have 10 Foot Henry, this cutout that's been kicking around Calgary for 34 years, come back to his longest running home at 1209 First Street. So we'll have him, and we're excited to celebrate this new venture with our new friend.
This is fantastic. So the original 10 Foot Henry is back in his home.
He's actually living with us at our home.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
We have him, we're keeping him safe. So he's at our home, and for a couple weeks, in a couple of weeks we'll be moving him into our space, and yeah, he's our namesake. We're really excited about it.
This is a fantastic story. Now, going to the restaurant itself, you tell us about the concept that you have for the restaurant.
Yeah, so we decided to bring a hybrid concept. So we have a 3,000 square foot space, which is a little bit big for a restaurant for Asian standards. We like to have a 3-section, 3-man kitchen restaurant floor. So we decided to demise the space into two concepts. So one is a 500 square foot quick service coffee shop for grab and go food and gourmet coffee. The other part of the building is a full service restaurant, 72 seats. And we'll be doing a family style menu, Mediterranean style. My history of food is that's how I've been trained. I've been trained in Italian and Spanish cuisines, and I'll be kind of relying on the principles of that food and those flavor profiles, but also welcoming some other stuff. And what's going to be unique about us this time is we're going to be anchored on vegetables in the menu. So instead of a meat-forward concept, which is typical for Calgary, we're going to flip it and go to vegetables.
That's very interesting, especially for a city like this. Is that following some international trend, or?
Yeah, I think there's a pretty big movement, especially in California, to have a veggie-centric menu, as they're saying. You look to some restaurants that are from Los Angeles and San Francisco that have really heavy vegetable components. And meat is still on the menu, it just plays a supporting role. It's no longer the star. So that's kind of what we're looking for. And we've had amazing dining experiences in restaurants like that, and we've been with friends and family down there, and they love it. So we figured we'd bring it back to Calgary.
Isn't that something that generally it seems like in people's mindset, things are moving often a little bit away from the meat, more towards the vegetables these days?
Yeah, we also feel like this city is underserviced for really great vegetable anchored menus. There's not really an option for a vegetarian and a carnivore to go out and dine in one area together. It has to be one or the other. And so we want to have a restaurant that both types of people can enjoy a meal together. So that's our goal.
And it's just also society is starting to eat better. The way we communicate nowadays, we communicate so fast, trends are going really quick, and everybody has a far bigger knowledge base through social media, and they understand what eating well is. And so they're looking for that. And we feel that there's especially that neighborhood, there's a bit of underservice for that, so we're going to add to the neighborhood by bringing it.
So in the mention that people are starting to eat better, I also get the idea that many restaurants are looking more to be very conscious on where they source their produce.
Absolutely. Huge factor.
Do you have any special philosophy about that?
Well, what's been happening lately is people are really driving local support for the small farmer. My opinion is that I think that we need to focus on mid-sized farming. So it's the guys that actually have integrity. They're using the principles of organic farming. They're following standards that are like, ancient practices. They're using ladybugs for pesticide instead of chemical. But they can produce a standard amount, enough food to actually feed a mass of people. And that is, I think, the future of food, and that's something that I believe in. So don't get me wrong, I'm going to buy from local farmers all the time, but I also respect the mid-sized farm. I'm not going to shy away from them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, going local and making sure there's integrity behind your product is super key right now. Customers are looking for it.
In putting the menu together, have you then dealt a lot with local farmers? Was there a roadshow? Do you know where to find these people?
Well, yeah, basically, it's just kind of, because I've been cooking in the city for about 19 years now, so it's just a kind of a history of building these relationships. But when we're trying to get out, break the mold and not use the typical suppliers, we want to find a new, a local producer, we go to the farmer's market. Super simple. Go shake a hand, face to face, and meet tons of people.
Because that's where you meet them.
And you get to taste their product, they get to meet you, and a lot of times they wanted to see if you have integrity and they want to do business with you or not. They're pretty selective themselves.
So we've been talking about the food much. Is there any special beverage approach that the restaurant will take?
Well, we will definitely be a wine-forward establishment. We're going to be working almost exclusively with Metro Vino on 11th Avenue. Al and Richard are helping curate an amazing list. Wine drinkers are going to be able to find something on the list that appeals to them and makes sense to them, and we really want to be value driven. We don't have to spend a lot of money to drink a great bottle of wine. And what I love about Metro Vino is that they hand pick their boutique producers, so you get to see a lot of different wines that you wouldn't find elsewhere. So I'm really excited about their willingness to help curate this list with me. We're also going to have wine on tap. We want to support Last Fest and other local breweries. We are going to have a full bar available. However, we do have great cocktail forward programs in the neighborhood, especially across the street from us. Proof is doing an amazing job at just incredible cocktail programs. So we want to complement their business rather than compete. We want you to be able to go there before or after a great meal with us. We'll have a full bar menu available and some classic cocktails, but we're going to leave that to the masters.
That sounds like a great idea, because they're just across the street from you. and to not compete with them necessarily.
Absolutely. They're doing a fantastic job, and we will not do it better than them because they're so amazing at what they do. And so we want to learn from them. We're going to be using Vine Arts exclusively for our alcohol as well, which we're really excited about. And they're going to be integral in kind of fashioning our cocktail program, and it will be on the classic side and available. But we're going to leave masters to their trade.
We're turning Victoria Park into the destination,
Absolutely.
and not only one of the establishments necessarily.
And yeah, a trend that we see in the business probably over the last 10, 15 years is in hospitality is more about the clustering effect and making sure businesses complement each other instead of competing against each other.
Absolutely.
Instead of looking at your business and creating a cool business, it's about creating a cool neighborhood.
Yeah, and isn't that so much? Because even in our business, we can see so much more that the focus these days would be on collaboration and a collaborative approach rather than competition. Right.
Very interesting. It's
Yeah.
a huge swing because I've been in the hospitality industry from competitive style to now this, so it's very interesting.
Probably a little bit more fun this style, isn't it?
I would say so. Yeah, totally.
Tell me about the demographics that you're aiming for.
So we're looking at the age group anywhere between 20 and 40, and that's kind of a bit broader. But the spectrum that people are really looking for these days in food and drink spending is the millennials. So on a big picture look, that is the age group in that demographic. They're the kind of people that are doing the internet shopping, they're big on social media, and they spend a lot of time out of the house. And they're doing the food and drink expenditures in a restaurant setting or a quick service setting. But more specifically and locally, we want to appeal to the condo dweller that's in that neighborhood. It's one of the densest neighborhoods in downtown, or I guess close to downtown Calgary. And it's kind of underserviced for grab and go food and drink, and also underserviced for a full service restaurant, especially in Victoria Park. There's a lot of unique concepts, there's pubs, but a full service restaurant that's open all day long, it's just not around. So we're looking for the young professional of 2015.
And then tying into the demographic that you're looking for, tell me about the vibe of the restaurant.
You know, Steve and I think, are just intrinsically kind of like easygoing, fun, vibrant people who like to be social and like to give or entertain people and take care of people, and we're just wanting a space that welcomes people every day, all day, a neighborhood restaurant that is sort of like the Cheers of restaurants, where you feel you can come as you are as many times a week. We don't want it to be a destination, we really want it to be a neighborhood establishment. We're going for a casual feel and vibe, come as you are, as I said.
Yeah, and I think that we maybe steered away from too much pomp and circumstance, and we want to create a vibe that people are comfortable in every day. So it's a little more brightly lit than your typical restaurant, and it's just a really comfortable space that you can spend multiple visits a week.
Yeah, and just chill out at.
Totally.
Yeah, we don't, I think Steve nailed it with the pomp and circumstance. We want there to be zero pretension. It's just, we're just feeding you. We want you to have a great time, come in and leave satisfied and happy and can't wait to come back. That's
Right.
the feeling.
Right. When are you opening?
We're looking mid to late January. We're in the finishing stages of construction right now, so we're painting today, tiling. Equipment gets delivered the next couple days, so we're very close.
This is exciting. Steve, you mentioned that you've been in the business for 19 years. Tell me, where did the road take you, and how did this lead you to 10-Foot Henry?
Well, there's a spot called 4 Street Rose, which is a Calgary classic. That's kind of where I really cut my chops. And then from there, I was at Bonterra as a sous chef, co-executive chef at Mercado. After that, I went back to school again, and I ended up, me and my friends Kelly Black and Jamie McFadden, to do a pizza place called Luna Pizza in 17th Avenue. And that was a great experience, and we were in business together for 5 years. At that time, we also opened up another restaurant called Ox and Angela. And there are all those restaurants I've worked at, except for 4th Street, are still successful and going today. So
That's a lineup of some really good restaurants.
yeah, it's been lucky. It was had a chance to work with some really good people and gain lots of great experience and learn how to make people happy.
And Asia, you've been in the business for a long time too.
Yeah, I think like most people have sort of dabbled in the restaurant industry, at least through university or high school. So that's what happened with me. I started at, I think, 17 or 18, had my first serving job, and really loved loved hospitality and everything about it. Finished my undergraduate degree, was requested to become the general manager at a restaurant that I was working throughout the summers while I was in school. So I did that, took my 1-year break before my graduate program that I never went to because I got into restaurants and decided that was my passion. That was in Nova Scotia, and about 8 years ago I managed to find my way out here. A huge cohort of high school and university friends that live out here, so it seems like a second home. I actually met Steve at Mercado, which was one of the first places that I worked in the city, and I've been blessed to get lots of great jobs and lots of experience in different restaurants in the city. Most importantly, I'd say general manager at Una Pizza and Wine for almost 5 years, where Steve and I ended up working together and realized that we had a mutual passion for hospitality, and here we are deciding to do it on our own this time.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you must be very excited. People want to follow what's going on with 10-Foot Henry when it's opening, new developments. There are a lot of people out there that are excited about the concept. Where do they go to stay in touch?
Right now, I think our best outlet for that is social media. So you can check us out at 10-Foot Henry on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We're posting our updates. It's Story 10-Foot Henry lives there as well. Yeah, we have a website as well, 10foothenry.com. You can email us. We'll keep you in the know.
Okay, so people want to directly connect with you, they can email as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Okay, it's almost Christmas, so people, they want to stay in touch and follow what's going on, but you also have gift cards available, which could be a great gift.
Absolutely.
How do they get a hold of you, and how do they get a hold of a gift card?
Well, there's a few ways. You could send us a message on Instagram. You can leave us a message on the Facebook page. But if it's easily most direct, is email. So eat@10foothenry.com, eat@10foothenry.com, and we can make your Christmas shopping a lot easier because we'll be around to deliver them. You get to meet me and Asia.
Fantastic. So they can meet the owners. Well, thank you very much for joining today. I'm very excited to come and experience 10-Foot Henry and experience your food and some wine. Best of luck for the new year.
Thanks, Claudius.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.
Thank you, guys.